I'm Rachel, and this is Paul.
Hi, Rachel.
We're 2/5 of the team Enterprise, and we've developed an application which will help children to succeed in this challenging and unpredictable world.
That's a good thing to do. Okay. And Doreen is here to hear it.
Okay,
Tell me more.
Thanks. So, the purpose of education is to provide children with the knowledge and skills that they need to survive in this world. Skills such as negotiation, time management, networking, and it's okay to fail. It's recognised today that many of these skills can be learned through entrepreneurship education. However, entrepreneurship education is not part of the curriculum in many schools across the world. So what we've done to solve this problem is we've developed an application which takes the basic principles of entrepreneurship and makes it into a game to help enable children to learn these essential life skills.
So our interactive app is the only one that's designed for children between the ages of 5 and 16. The app takes the principles of entrepreneurship and builds them into life skills as Rachel's laid out. For credibility, we've aligned ourselves to Pearson, the formal education provider. We really want to engage and bring that formal element of education into the gameplay. And that for us is a key differentiator, that formal educational contact point. So how big is the market? In Europe, there's 106 children aged between 5 and 16. Our route to market is the UK. In the UK, there are approximately 8.5 million kids between 5 and 16, around which 7.5 million play games on a regular basis. The UK is the 4th biggest. So what we're here to do is to request 1.5 million, which will fund the startup and the first year of operations and help us target the $130 billion games market. Thank you.
Excellent. I like the tag teaming. Actually, I thought that was nice. From my perspective, who's your customer? That was just the one piece that I was looking for. Like, who's your customer? How are you going to make money? Is it a subscription model or indirect or direct revenue model? Like, that would have been nice to have, and I'm sure I'll have it in there. But I could have used that a little bit in that pitch. I think that would have been great. And I think I love that you incorporated the Pearson piece, that you thought about strategic partnerships, you thought about how you're going to be credible, how you're going to differentiate yourself, and I think so I'd be interested to know more.
Of course, I wanted to know more. I wanted to better understand how it would work, and I really like the idea of incorporating entrepreneurial skills, because I think that is a life skill, right? Whether you end up being an entrepreneur or not, right? So I wanted to see how that works. So thanks.
Certainly, you're talking to the right people. We're all entrepreneurs. We look at here. I think everything that you said was summarized in one word. You're going to do entrepreneurship as a game for kids, and throughout that whole 90 seconds, I didn't get any more than that. That's all. I mean, I got something about the size of the market, but I want to know more. So maybe you accomplish that because I want to know more. But I would like to have heard some example or something that they're going to learn that they're not learning, and one thing that you have to know from any investor standpoint, the education market is a tough market to get into, tough market to make any money in. Lots of people love it, and lots of people fail, or they just end up losing games. So I want to hear more, but I hope I hear something that actually I can take away and not just have the feel good of I want my kids to learn how to be entrepreneurs in the long term. didn't mention this, but Team 2 is up next. Whenever you're ready.
So we're in Enterprise Limited, and I'd like you to introduce you to the team. I'm Rachel.
Diana.
Paul?
Oneida.
Giuseppe.
So what's the problem that we're trying to solve with this app? In 2016, the European Commission released a document which stated that entrepreneurship education is one of the highest returns on investment that Europe can make. This is because entrepreneurs create businesses which create jobs. But it's widely recognised now that entrepreneurship doesn't only create jobs, it also teaches children lifelong skills. Skills which many children are not learning in schools today. For example, the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor identified that in the UK, for example, it ranked 55th out of 61 countries for teaching entrepreneurship. So we've identified the problem, and I'll hand you over to Diana, who's going to explain how we're going to help resolve this problem and teach children the lifelong skills that they need.
All right, so how do we solve this problem? Of course, we will be using this great app. First of all, we're aging it. We're ranking it to ages 5 to 16. We're going to have our partner, Pearson, that is going to give us the content that we need, and it will be certified. Of course, it will be adding value to the moms that are looking for these children. Game creators for the children, of course, it's fun to learn through an app. It will be very, very catchy, and it's an educational game, so for them, it's all value. And for moms, it's pain reliever. Just forgetting about, what are they doing in their phones. So it's gonna relieve all that stress. So that's basically it. So how do we make money out of this? The ROI is going to come first from our ethical partners. Of course, they have to be aligned with our mission. So we're going to get sponsorship from them. We expect to get, of course, advertisement, but not only that, we would like to do coupon distribution while the kids go up in the levels of the game, and sales rebates also. That's going to give us more opportunity in the future. Of course, our final users are our kids and parents that are going to do in-app purchases while going up the levels, and they're going to buy some feature improvement also. And we will also make subscriptions to get premium, remove ads out of it, so the ones who add more value.
So, as enterprise game, we love to be in the hand and through the fingers of all the children of all the world, to help them learn entrepreneurial skills. Globally, there are almost $160 billion in global education technology market and around $130 billion global mobile market. In European market, we have almost 106 million children between 0 to 19 years old. So children and young people, it means. Our route to enter into the market is through UK firstly. There are almost 1.5 million school-age children between 5 and 16 years old. It is interesting if you see that in UK market, 75% of kids play games on smartphones and 87% of kids play games on their tablets. So they love the games and play them in their mobile devices.
So who are our competitors? It's fair to say there is a range of competitors, but none address the same market as we are addressing, and they don't engage with them in the same way. We have existing apps that go from very childish cartoon, very simple, right through to adult strategy. That's not what we're aiming at. We're aiming for the 5 to 16-year-old. We aim to address decision making, financial management, ethical practices, time management, and we do through this with interactive gameplay. That's our differentiator.
Well, the application will be completely developed by a third-party company, and the content will be generated in partnership with Pearson, which, as said, is the real value added to our company, our platform. We will also focus on the creative side of the application, because through the use of the gamification of important concepts, we are going to create something that is really surprising with both the children and their parents.
So what's our timeline? In the initial stage, we look to align our value chain. That includes our paid content providers, the educational content, which is key to the differentiation, and our creative development. If we don't get that hook, the game might not gain the traction. We then go into the second stage, which is app development, business development, and rollout. The intent being that by early next year, the game is launched. Initially a 3-month trial based in the UK, our initial target market, and then through the first 1 and 2 years, we concentrate on the UK market, making game improvements, updating content with our providers, and then we roll out to Europe, mainland Europe, looking to hit the German market and the French market, which have respectively 9 million and 10 million kids aged between 5 and 16. Thereafter, we go to address the full 106 million European market.
So the finance numbers look really promising, and consider we are going to ask you 1.5 million pounds that will allow us to go through the first 2 years of the stage of the company. The payback is in less than 3 years, and the plan is to reinvest the additional income coming from the company into the company itself, because this would allow us to have an organic growth and to explore new market, reinvesting the money into the company.
So beyond our team with our physician, we have also partnership that are most important for develop this app. There are technical partners that help us to be true with our application and to be attractive with all contents that are provided by educational partner. We also have our sponsors that help us to make our dream true. So thank you.
So thank you very much, and to reiterate, 1.5 million.
Thank you for that. There is a lot of parts there, and I have 2 main questions. Is this a B2B or a B2C model?
Well, it can be both. The initial concept is B2C, direct to the game players, the parents.
Right.
The hope is that over time the European Commission will develop a curriculum to sponsor, support and attract entrepreneurship, in which case we would then look to the educational market as B2B.
Okay.
But we can't take credit for that at the minute. It doesn't exist.
Right, yeah, it wasn't clear because you talked about going in through the British school system. And so I was confused then about how you directed the marketing and sales efforts.
Okay.
Okay. The second question I had was around partnering with Pearson and then providing the content. Can you just expand a little bit on that thinking, and then your role and who owns the intellectual property?
We saw the engagement of a educational provider as a key differentiator. Like I say, there are other games out there, but they are pretty much that. They are games. They don't hit the educational or the social benefit that we aim to. So that's where we think that the educational provider is critical. Initially, the thought was we would pay Pearson for their content. Over time, and what we mention in there is sales rebates. So if Pearson's or EdXL or whoever provides the content starts to generate sales through our app, we would look to get a rebate on that sales turnover from them.
Lastly, well, I'm a big believer in the skills that entrepreneurial training can provide. I think more of a kind of a cause and effect would have been very helpful to really see how this training would directly enable and facilitate life skills for children moving forward.
So I can give you a little bit of context to that. So
Okay, I didn't see it. Or maybe I was
it wasn't
writing
there
it.
on the basis of brevity, just to keep the slides and the content to 7
Right,
minutes.
right.
So there's a 2012 study that says 55% of parents think playing games actually gives their kids new skills. So this would be an additional new skill to just gameplay. And about 39% of parents think that playing games helps the kids to gain creativity. So there is anecdotal evidence that this would, even just by being a game, would help, but the educational element of it, the entrepreneurial element of it, just builds to what we think is a fairly cohesive argument for gameplay equals better skills, better entrepreneurs.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to read it. Yes.
Okay, my concerns also around this content development and how you're developing everything. One comment is that your first slide was great. That was what I wanted to hear actually at the beginning of in your elevator pitch as well, which I kind of missed. Because the first slide said what the skills were that you were going to try to teach. And I would have liked to see, I think you're mixing one thing up, and that is you're mixing the game and the gamification with what you're trying to do with teaching. Because you're trying to teach kids some of these skills. One method of doing that is by gamification and doing it as an app. Another thing you're talking about is going to schools. Well, they may not want to use the app. They may want to use some of your content developed or delivered in a different manner. So there's a content and there's a delivery of the content, which I think would be better, in my mind, to kind of direct it to what we're trying to do. So in the content development, is there anybody on the team that is an educator?
No, that's why we
have
bring in
to hire
partners.
somebody.
Yes.
You have to kind of bring on somebody that's an educator. I mean, I think that you can't depend on some other people to do all the content. I mean, I think that's one of your differentiations is who's going to do that. And to that end, I think your time schedule is too quick.
Understood.
In 6 months or whatever, being able to develop the content and test it, and then within a year actually deliver it, especially for a teaching app. I mean, that's not just a game. It's actually some serious things that you're trying to put together. What do you guys think about a freemium model, which is what you're using? Putting ads out to 5-year-olds, and hey, while you're playing this game, why don't you go down and buy this new toy? How
It would be
does
subtle.
that match?
It would be subtle, but it is one of the fundamental revenue streams. So we didn't see how we could do without it. The intent was the game would build in complexity through the age group. Sometimes it starts off subtle at that younger age, very, very minimal, and goes, and also the sponsorship changes, it becomes age appropriate, but it will always be ethical. It's no fast food, there's no fizzy pop.
Don't use the word subtle when you're talking about ethical.
Okay.
We're going to subtly sell things to the kids while they're not thinking about it. But we're ethically going to do that. Careful. Let's see. I really do think you're hitting on something that's really important. The skill set again that you put up at the front, I think are just critical for kids to learn early. They can fail, which is different from everybody's being taught today, is that everybody succeeds, right? You get a sticker for whatever you do. And to be able to have that contrast, I think is fantastic. So I'm for the company.
Yeah, I thought good job. I like the concept. In general, I agree with what has been said before. for specifically on these skills, obviously you are talking to the right people for that. I also absolutely love that slide. I know exactly which slide you're talking about, the one that actually showed all the different areas you're going to grow. I would have loved, I wrote down the word monetize when I saw that. Like, so if there was some way to put some kind of monetized number, meaning somehow or another, this, by having this skill, it's going to help someone by this much, or this is the need associated with each of these skills, or somehow or another monetizing that, not necessarily from you guys making money, but in terms of how big the opportunity is for people to learn these skills, and any background around that would be helpful. Let's see, the other component that I wrote down a few things, but you're talking about marketing it. So my biggest question was, how are you going to get users, right? So you're marketing directly to consumers. So in order to get the sponsors, you have to get the users. So you got the content, which is great. I really need more people on your team with that can generalize that. I love the question about who's going to own that content and how it's going to be delivered. That's a great question as well. But how are you going to get users? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, yeah, into the financials, well, we didn't, because of the time constraints. Yeah, we included more than 150,000 pounds per year in terms of marketing to promote our application into the schools and into communities. So yeah, just.
Yeah. Okay, good. So marketing's the answer. So you just want to think strategically on how you're
we
going to
thought
use that
about it,
and start in a small area and stand out. So okay. And sustainable competitive advantage was the only other component, like preventing somebody else from coming in. How you're going to do that? First to market, of course, is always one of the ones that's talked about, but not easy to do in such a competitive marketplace. So, but those are my comments. So good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.